Right. It's Mary Harron, and she's like, yeah, no, I'm like having a woman direct it was literally the only way you could do that movie.
Yeah. Yes,
So-
exactly. Well, and that's just it, I think, and that's the thing. It's just like Fight Club. With those kind of dudes, if they admit then they've got to admit, like, oh, this might not be about the thing that I think it's about. It might not be cool for the reasons I think it's cool. I
Right.
might actually be watching something that's criticizing all the shit that I like.
Right.
And they just, dude, they can't handle that.
They can't
go
deal with that.
No, of course
No.
not. Let's not be silly.
Let's not be silly.
No, they can't do that.
But you know what is silly?
What's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixel. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil. On today's show, we dust off the cobwebs to return to Metal Gear Solid by Raymond Benson, a Hideo Kojima production of a book, of a movie, of
In
a
a
game.
manner of speaking, yeah.
Yeah, so to speak. We haven't recorded in a few weeks because just so you all know, we recorded this, and then we had our little guest trade-off spots with Video Game Apocalypse. So
Yep,
Phil went over there, Michael came over here, and then I had some work commitments for like a couple weeks, and then it was just like, oh, well, you know, the episode's coming up. We gotta get back on it. So here we are. Like 4 weeks later, we're recording part 2 of this book, and let me tell you, I think we would rather have just forgotten that this book started.
Yes.
If I had like a fake episode I could have put out instead of part 1 of this book, I might have, just to give us a little bit more time.
Yeah,
But-
we actually were planning on recording this sooner, but Kevin got sick, and I'm not entirely sure that wasn't your body trying to stop you from having to talk about this book more.
I vomited for 2 days straight.
Yeah.
My
And it
back
still
hurts.
painted a prettier picture than what we get from this book.
My back. We're coming off hard on this book, but it's
I
it's
know
bad.
it's not. It's far from the worst thing.
It's far from the worst thing we've read. It's just like so astoundingly boring compared to what you would have expected. And it's like it's boring and horny in all the wrong ways.
Well, you know, and it's funny. I was listening to
Just like an old James Bond movie.
Well, yeah, you know, I was listening to the last episode recently, and one of the things I said was I just kind of trying to make a gag, said something about like how it's been a bleak year for us, and I was like, you know what? It's the exact opposite. We have gotten so spoiled with a certain level of quality, even in the stuff that we haven't like 100% adored, that when we get to this kind of thing, it just feels extra tedious.
Yes.
You know, it's not even that it's bad in an entertaining way.
Yeah.
It's just tedious.
Bad tends to be like, okay, well, you gotta cut a steak that's way too much fat and gristle.
Sure.
You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Yes,
Like the marbling.
absolutely.
The marbling's all wrong. And
Yeah.
you're just not really gonna enjoy it. It's just gonna be a little too squishy in your mouth.
But by God, it's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be interesting.
You're gonna remember it forever.
This is more of just like a dry steak.
Yeah. Just a badly cooked steak.
A badly cooked steak.
Yeah. It's
That's
a bummer.
like, so a bad book is just a bad cut that was probably cut fine.
Yeah,
That was probably
yeah.
cooked fine. This is a good cut that was cooked poorly. I feel like that makes sense to us. I don't know if it will make sense to everybody else out there, but patreon.com/pixelatpod is your place to join us for, if you want more stuff, you want more steak metaphors, $1,
Absolutely.
$5, $10, and the free dollar tier. That's what I'm going to call it, the free dollar tier.
$3. I like that. Yeah.
Free dollar. The free dollar
$3
tier.
I like it.
And apparently, I haven't even checked to verify, but I'm trusting and not verifying because I listened to the No Clip Crewcast today, and Danny O'Dwyer himself said we are now allowed to make posts for patrons that include the free dollar tier. So
okay, so there we go. See?
So there we go. Just for followers, which is something that I've wanted for a long time. So come along, go to patreon.com/pixelitpod. It's free to follow, but if you want to throw us a buck or $5 or $10, we won't yell at you.
No, we won't get mad. We won't throw things. We won't hurt you or send people to dox you.
No, we won't.
It'll all be cool and copacetic.
It'll all be cool and groovy, baby. $1 gets, access to Phil's blog, which he talks about the books that he reads and how infatuated and or disappointed he is in them.
Most recently, I talked about Vermis, a video game. What would you even call it? Like a strategy guide for a video game that does not exist.
That's actually an interesting concept.
I think you'd like this a lot.
Okay.
It's very much. It's based on a FromSoft kind of game that's not real. And it just kind of walks you through. It doesn't have the way I describe it is like no plot, no overarching thing to tie all these levels together. Just vibes. It's just
rolling, just heavy rolling on vibes, baby.
That's it. It's Dark Souls. It's Souls-like vibes. That's the whole thing, which is right up my alley because it means I don't have to, smash another controller against the wall.
Let's praise the sun to some jolly cooperation and, Vermis. Interesting. At $5, you get access to the ad-free and the bonus episodes when we resume recording them. We should be doing that over the summer now that schedules are allowing. And $10, you get all of the above, but also you get your name shouted out in the episode. So to that end, shouting out Ruthless Mutter, Kyle Seaman, Jesus Loves You, and Friendly Friend.
Friendly Friend.
Thank you for being a friend.
We love you.
Patreon.com/pixelitpod. Do it today.
Do it.
So how are you feeling about getting through this book?
I mean, we're all gonna die eventually, right? It doesn't matter.
And, with the heat death of the universe, there will be no memory that this ever happened.
None whatsoever.
In the universal long term, everything gets wiped from the record.
And some people see that as nihilistic and painful, and they can't deal with it. I see acknowledging that as the only way to be really free.
Yeah. Unless, you just start worshipping the warp gods and,
Which, look, I'm not, no judgment. No judgment. You find your bliss where you need to find it, even if it's in the scaly hands of Slanesh.
Fuck around and slaughter some people for corn,
Absolutely.
Speaking of slaughtering people, let's put this body in the marsh.
Let's do it.
When I tell you to dump a body in the marsh, you dump them in the marsh.
We start in chapter 11. Snake arrives in the next building, and Meryl calls him to mention that she's in there as well. And they talk for way too long about how that happened.
Like
all dialogue.
Did we need that explanation?
In this book is just too long to describe what actually happened. Yeah. Meryl was able to get in faster, not because she's like sneakier. It's just because she is wearing a guard uniform, which Snake could have done at any time.
At any time, if it was literally that simple.
It's that simple. She's just moving around pretty much unnoticed because she has a guard uniform on. And it's one of the wild things about this story. Anyway, Meryl just hopped in a truck that was going to the next building, and she was allowed in. While Snake is in there, he sees a bunch of ICBMs, and he gets a history lesson about them from the comms chatter. They also tell him about the START treaties, which the U.S. and Russia are on the eve of START 3 in the Metal Gear Solid universe. FYI, START 2 never actually... They mentioned that START 2 was never ratified. That's true. It never ultimately is ratified, and there is no START 3. in 2010, in the real world, there is no
Right.
START 3.
Right.
In 2010, there was a treaty called New START signed between Obama and Medvedev. Fuck it. Dmitry.
Dimitri.
President Dmitry M.
Dimitri M. Yeah, that's just how it's gonna have to be pronounced.
Medvedev. Was
Yeah.
that it?
Medvedev? Yes.
I had it earlier today. Anyway, that was when Putin was letting Dmitry run things for a little bit as president. Putin took a break because you're not allowed that many concurrent or consecutive presidencies in a row in Russia.
And let's be honest, he earned it, didn't he? He's
earned
worked
that
so
break.
hard
He-
terrorizing those poor people.
Yeah, so it's like 2008, 2012, Dimitri's in charge, and then Putin's right back in, baby.
Right back in.
Wetting that whistle.
Gots to.
Gots to. Anyway, they're talking about ICBMs. Master Miller calls, and he's acting out of character because it's clearly not him. And he tells Snake to find a rocket launcher, and he's very specific about the office that it's in. And Snake's like, okay. Like,
All right.
like Master Miller's like, he's like, it's in this office in the cabinet. The cabinet code is XYZ14, filed under R for rocket launcher.
L for launcher, comma, rocket.
Launcher, comma, rocket. And you, Snake has become equipped with
Launcher, comma, rocket. That was really solid.
Snake finds the rocket launcher, which is a Nikita, and he gets a call from Deep Throat warning him about the electrified floor he was about to step on. So Snake figures out a way to use the rocket launcher right away, and he shoots it through the wall at the end of the hallway, which blows up the circuitry and fries the electrical floor.
They talk about that. That's another thing they talk about a lot. Like, he has to figure out the logistics of it and everything. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't think we need to do that.
I don't think we need to do that.
Yeah.
At this point, my eyes are glazing over, and I'm reading like the first two words and last two words of each paragraph.
Sure. Yep. Okay, good. As long as it wasn't just me. That's what's important.
And I'll be like, yeah, okay. All right,
got it.
wait, that doesn't make sense. And then, like, if it didn't make sense, then I would go back and read the
Back
paragraph.
up. Yeah. You're doing what they do in Fallout 4, where if you're done with the dialogue and you want to skip through it, and your PC character just goes, okay, just cutting through the bullshit. Like, that's what you're doing reading wise.
I'm hitting skip. I'm hitting skip cutscene
Pretty
as
much.
I read a book.
Just the facts, ma'am. That's just, yeah.
So that's the end of chapter 11. Chapter 12, we get a bunch of guards standing around Hal Emmerich's cell, and they're talking about how the only good otaku is a dead otaku.
Which, look, fair enough. Yes.
Fair
I got
enough.
it.
But I also, like, these guys know enough about, like, otakus just to give a damn.
It's
like,
so random.
it's so
weird.
And then they get ninja timed.
Yeah,
Basically,
they sure do.
somebody starts playing Fruit Ninja all over their bodies.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Snake walks in on the murders, and it's pretty gruesome. There's like one guy who gets his half of his head sliced off, like shing, and it's like the
Wait, sorry. It's what?
it's shing.
Okay, cool. I just
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm
It's
following
like the
you.
and then it just slides. It's like the anime thing where it's like,
Oh yeah,
you know,
split and there's a
it's
pause.
split pause, and then blood.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love
And
it.
the-
Did you? I just saw a clip of like the first time that was ever done in Japanese cinema. I think it was a Kurosawa film or something.
Yeah,
and
is it Seven
and it's-
Samurai?
I think so, and it's all because it was a malfunction in the blood. I love that fact so much.
Kurosawa, it was like it wasn't intended to be so stylized, but then it just ended up being.
I love that. That just like something that just influenced the shit out of everything. Was just a fuck up, and I love that shit. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's like they had a blood pump to so that some blood would spray out, but instead it was just like all over the goddamn place.
I love it. That's so neat. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild how many things that people assume are intentional in like older movies, especially in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, when it's not like super intentional. It's just like, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
We had two takes and that was take two. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's it. We are not made of money. Let's keep going.
And then later they're like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Well, we're just going to let that influence, the world for as long as possible. Oh, cool. It's amazing that anyone admits that they didn't do that kind of thing on purpose. To me, I yes, of course. I thought that would be fun if it sprayed like that. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all. I equal genius. That's all.
Yeah. What's your favorite Kurosawa movie, or is that a blind spot for you?
It is a blind. I was just looking. HBO has a bunch of his films. And I really need to take advantage of that.
You need to watch. If like the samurai film isn't necessarily.
Well, you know
your
what?
thing.
Sorry, I did see Throne of Blood.
Okay,
that's the Macbeth remake, right?
Right.
I liked that.
I believe
a
so.
lot.
Yeah.
I saw that when I was a kid, and I thought that was friggin' amazing.
And Rashomon is the one is the one where it's like the story keeps getting retold from different points of view.
Yeah. That was another really influential one.
The one though is that I love that is not a samurai film is Ikiru, which is basically it's like a guy examining his life as he is dying of cancer.
Oh wow, Jesus Christ!
It is heavy.
Sounds heavy. Jesus Christ!
I'm on the Wikipedia now. I didn't realize this that the screenplay was partly inspired by Tolstoy's 1886 novella "The Death of Ivan Ilyich."
Jesus Christ! Okay, yeah. Some nice light reading.
Some nice light reading.
Yeah. Holy crap.
God.
See what we do to avoid talking about this book?
A terminally ill Tokyo bureaucrat and his final quest for meaning.
Let's watch that instead. I think I'd rather watch that kind of a bummer.
Hey, you want to be bummed out for 2 hours and 23 minutes?
At this point.
It's like Ikiru is like not This American Life. This American Life. What movie am I thinking of? It's a Wonderful Life. Ikiru is like It's a Wonderful Life, but it's It's a Wonderful Life, but he came to terms with he lived a good life, but he did it halfway through falling.
Right, yeah, on his way out. Yeah.
An occurrence at Owl Creek.
Just slow, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like just a slow-mo.
Spoilers for an occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge.
We all read it in high school. You don't need anything.
We all read it in high school. We all saw the experimental short film that was... Did you ever see that?
No.
Go find yourself a copy of that short film based on the same story.
Nice. So, no, I've only ever read the story.
What the fuck are we talking about? What book is this?
I think it's A Wonderful Life, the novelization.
I think it was The Death of Ivan Ilyich we were talking about.
A Day in the
Tolstoy.
Life of Robin Denisovich.
Tolstoy. God, if we ever did a podcast on Tolstoy,
God, what would we do? What would we do if we
An
ever...
episode a page.
What would we do? Yes, exactly. What would we do if we ever... Here's the thing. We bitch and moan about this like mass-produced dreck, but what would you and I actually do if we were tasked with taking a sudden left turn into like actual classic works of literature? We'd be fucked.
I'd be exposed as the fraud that I am.
Exactly. People would know for a fact that we are hacks and frauds.
And frauds.
And that's accept. And maybe that's what we deserve, Kevin.
That's what we deserve.
That's what we deserve. Yeah.
But, we're all hacks down here, Georgie.
Exactly. My God.
So Snake walks in on the murders, and they're pretty gruesome. And Snake and the ninja fight, and the ninja is really into being hurt.
He sure is.
Loves being hurt. In a dramatic scene, it comes out that the ninja was killed in Zanzibar land, and he's actually Snake's old squad member, Gray Fox, in the suit, even though Snake was certain that he was dead. And Gray Fox then leaves after screaming about the medicine.
It's weird. It's really weird. Like...
Yeah, chapter 13, Snake asks the support staff for a debrief on the whole dead buddy thing. Dr. Hunter...
Someone explain this shit to me.
Somebody tell me this. So Dr. Hunter's like, all right, well, here's what I know. It's definitely not my dead brother. And...
I know that for a fact.
I know that for a fact.
Easy to know.
It was done by my predecessor, but after Colonel Campbell retired. So it's like that narrow window where everybody who's currently involved had nothing to do with it.
Right. Ever so convenient window. They call it the convenience window, in fact. Yeah.
The unaccountable convenience window.
Oh, man. That fucking window. It's responsible for so much bullshit.
Yeah. So the predecessor died, and they thought that the project reviving Gray Fox was destroyed as well. Snake frees Hal Emmerich, also known as Otacon. He likes to be called Otacon, which is short for Otaku Convention. Hal also asks Snake if he is an otaku because he likes to work alone. Sure, buddy.
Okay. Yeah. Right
Otacon gives Snake his rundown on his family history. He's a cursed family histories. My grandfather worked on the Manhattan Project, and my father born the day that the bombs dropped on Hiroshima. Coincidence? I think not.
I think not.
And he's also gives him a rundown of like, here's what the Metal Gear can do. And Snake's like, yeah, all that and launch nuclear missiles. And Otacon's like, no. What?
That's silly.
No. I didn't do that.
Come on. Come on.
It's like...
Okay, maybe.
It's like, was that guy's name? Tim Robinson or whatever in the in the hot dog
wearing the hot dog outfit. We're all looking for this guy.
Oh God. So Snake goes like, all right, I'm leaving. Wait here. Chapter 14, Snake goes down another level and he takes out more guards. And he sees Meryl and her curvy posterior walking around. That's how he knows that it's Meryl.
That is how he identifies her.
Because he never forgets Nass.
He never forgets a bitch. Like, that is just his thing. Yeah.
And he follows her into the women's room, and she draws on him because, he followed her into the women's room. And they have a really weird conversation that gives me the ick about how Snake never forgets a lady. But also how she worshipped him when she was a kid. Do you understand how those two facts juxtapose next to each other?
Are we following the
Are we
math
there yet?
Here? Yes, exactly. Are you there? Are you with us? Jesus Christ.
Meryl convinces Snake. And how bad was the security at the Campbell household. Like,
Oh yeah, like
why does Meryl know this shit?
that's not good.
I mean, I feel like you should report Colonel Campbell to your dad. Like,
Someone needs to know. Someone's got to find out. My God, man.
Anyway, so Meryl convinces Snake that she won't slow him down, and they continue on together until they run into Dun 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 Psycho Mantis. In a really uncomfortable scene, Psycho Mantis mind controls Meryl into making her beg Snake to make love to her.
It's gross. It's I hate to keep using that word, but it's just what it is. It's gross.
Snake knocks out Meryl. He punches her in the face, gives her a good old slap, and says, "Snap out of it, woman."
But to be fair, that is how he has foreplay. That is kind of his thing.
And then Psycho Mantis materializes out of thin air. And he's like, "Aha!"
He sure is.
"I have you now, Snake." And Snake runs away from him, and he ends up at a carnival from his childhood in Oregon. Psycho Mantis is really Silent Hilling the crap out of him. This might be the only good part of the book. So Snake is just running around from ride to ride. It's getting weird. At one point, he like runs into everybody he knows in like different torture rooms, and he runs into his dad, Big Boss, and he's like, "I haven't told him anything, Snake." And then as he's like he's talking to Big Boss, like his head just slowly starts to split apart and open, and it's like that scene at the end of Bionic Commando where you blow up Adolf Hitler's head, but instead of fast, it's like really slow. It's just like and like an eye. It's bad. Speaking of, have you watched Late Night with the Devil yet?
No, I have heard. I've heard a lot of ho hum reviews.
I really liked it. Yeah,
that doesn't mean I'm not going to watch it, but yeah. So you thought. All kinds of chaos is happening in this house. Everything okay? Yes. Things
yeah. I liked it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of neat. It's worth a watch, I'll say.
All the trailers and stuff. I'm very intrigued. I'll have to give it. I mean, I'm gonna give it a try one way or the other. So.
Yeah. Let's see. Snake. Snake fights his way past the hallucinations, and then Mantis starts attacking with throwing things, and he realizes that Mantis can only do so many things at once. He can't throw and make Snake's gun weigh 1,000,000 pounds at the same time.
Which
so
is,
baits,
fair enough.
Fair. So he baits Mantis into throwing and then shoots him twice in the chest. Boss fight over. He takes off the mask, and Mantis is all scarred up. And the next 20 pages of this chapter is Mantis giving Snake like directions first to the Sizzler down the road, and then if you go past the Dairy Queen, you've gone too far. You got to double back, and then there's a Staples. Behind the Staples is going to be the building that you're looking for.
It's very elaborate, and it goes on for longer than I was, even for this book.
If you see a sign for a Winn-Dixie, don't buy it. The Winn-Dixie closed down years ago and relocated to the other side of town.
Yeah, and then burned to the ground.
But there is a Piggly Wiggly there now. So
yes, hit up the Pigwig. I mean, that's worth it. That's just worth it.
It's just like really slowly talking Mantis, talking about how I'm dying. I've been shot twice in the chest, but let me tell you about my childhood.
Can we get into this? How much time have you got? Let's get into this.
I'm going to psychically add some orchestral strings to the background.
You know, I gotta say, if you had that kind of a power, I mean, that would make at least your final moments interesting. You're like, look, I'm going to tell you this story, but look, the soundtrack's by John Williams. Just relax. It's gonna.
It's a John Williams medley. I can't. I start humming Superman, and then I'm humming Star Wars. I can't keep them separated. And at some point, Psycho Mantis became Mark Hamill's Joker in my voice. And like, oh, Snake.
Oh, Snake.
Oh, God. So, Meryl and Snake regroup and continue on.
That's how it ought to be from here on out.
It's just I am become the Joker.
I mean, this book's going to do weird things to all of us. I don't. They
see some. Yeah, it's basically just a bad recounting of the first Metal Gear Solid. That's just what it boils down to. They see some sled dogs. They need to sneak through. Snake uses a flashbang to give them some CTE / knock them out. Sure. And they also find a puppy, and they leave it with the other dogs.
They sure do. It's kind of. I can't help but feel like this might come up later.
Yeah, maybe.
I hope. Maybe I don't hope. I hope just for the sake of writing and bringing things to a close that you've started, but. Maybe I don't. Maybe I just hope it ends sooner.
It's a Chekhov's. It's like not a Chekhov's puppy. It's just a puppy.
It's just a puppy.
I was like, I wanted to have a puppy. I wanted to have a puppy.
I wanted a puppy.
Batman.
Oh, Batman! I wanted a puppy. You wouldn't deny me this one thing, would you, Batsy?
Batsy.
Jesus Christ!
We both have a Joker, but neither of us have a Batman. What's up with that?
That's probably for the best. I can't speak for you, but I feel like if I ever had a Batman, I'd be fucked. It wouldn't take long.
I got no Batman for you.
Good.
They end up. They stop when Snake sees a sniper rifle laser dot right between Meryl's boobies.
Right. No. To be specific, on her chest between her breasts.
Yes.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
we like on her chest. Got it. Between her breasts.
Got it. Got it.
In the cleavage.
Where the nipples go.
Got it.
Not where the cleavage is.
And then Raymond Benson continues, where the French call it décolletage.
And then Snake went and got a tissue. And oh, God. All right. Finish. Can we flash forward, please?
Flashing forward 30 seconds. And then
if you wouldn't mind, it doesn't take long.
Snake pulls her out of the way, but she's shot in the shoulder and hip anyway and ends up sliding away from him. A sniper wolf, who is across the field and is breasting boobily on the other side.
Oh, Sniper Wolf.
Is using Wounded Meryl as bait. By the way, why does Sniper Wolf have a laser on her sniper rifle?
It is something that has happened in games and media and movie forever, and it's never made sense.
Where's the laser from?
The whole point of being a sniper is not to have a goddamn laser pointing you out to everyone. People, please. I'm begging you.
I don't think I've ever like you'll see the laser it's a thing that they show all the time in media, but then they show the sniper and you're like, wait a minute, where's the laser coming from on that sniper rifle?
Where is that exactly? It's just lazy movie making language for we want you to know that bad things are about to happen. It's like, well,
bad things are about to happen.
Well, I'm reading Metal Gear Solid the novelization, so I can kind of assume that bad things are going to happen.
Bad things have happened. It's sort of like the cut to the passenger seat of a car looking at the driver
Yes.
in movies. Be like, oh, they're going to get hit T-boned in an intersection now.
Yeah, you just know. You just know. You have that feeling. Yeah.
You just have that
even,
feeling.
You just know.
All right, so...
All right, where the fuck are we?
Where is that? Snake gets the sniper rifle that Meryl was holding by using a chaff grenade as cover. And in a quick sniper duel, he shoots Sniper Wolf once, wounding her. Snake gives chase, only to end up surrounded by soldiers, and he has to give up. And while he's arrested by the soldiers, he says, "A lady sniper. Who would have thought?"
What the fuck does that mean?
Like, Snake is probably one of the most backwards. And I just think of that tweet by Kojima where he's talking about when you learn the reason for Quiet's exposure. Like, Quiet was the one that like just wore a bikini around.
Yeah, you will regret your thoughts. What?
It's something like you'll regret your words and your deeds.
Your words and deeds. That's what it is.
Your
Yes.
words and deeds. I gotta
And
look.
it turns out, because, what was it?
You will feel ashamed of your words and deeds.
That's it. That's
But
it.
once you recognize the secret reason for her exposure, you will feel ashamed of your words and deeds. And the reason why is because she breathes through her skin.
It's like, look, I think people get the wrong idea with this shit. It's like the guy who made Nier Automata at least came out was like, oh, why is he? I like pretty girls, you know.
Yeah. There's like a
great, me too, awesome.
Have you ever watched that Pro ZD sketch where it's an anime fan defending a sexualized character's outfit? And the whole thing is the anime fan going, actually, if the boob window is a metaphor for how how she wants people to go through her outer self and into her inner self, and then it cuts to ProZD playing the creator of the original manga, and just in an interview going, I just wanted to see titties.
Yeah, yes. They're pretty blatant about that stuff. I love that. I think that's fine. That's fine.
You will feel ashamed of your words and deeds. Listen, Kojima, I don't need you telling me when to feel ashamed. I already feel plenty ashamed.
I'm on it. Dude, I am on it. I don't need your help.
Lady Sniper, who would have thought?
Lady Sniper, who would have thought?
By the clap of my ass cheeks, it's a Lady Sniper.
How do they get the rifle so they've got the boobs? It just, man. She must have removed one with fire like the Amazons of old.
Oh, God. That was in fucking Why the Last Man, too.
Was it?
That's a comic book that I was like, this is cool when I read it when I was younger. And if I just reread it now, I'm going to be like, this is fucking hot garbage.
Yeah,
I guarantee you, if I reread Why the Last Man now, I will rip my hair out.
anything, and that's not Y's fault, and that's not your fault, but anything that blew your mind apart from 1999 to 2009, I don't know why I said it that way, but anything that like blew your head off, like conceptually, if from those days, just leave it alone. It's not going to work out.
Those
for
were
you.
the early the aughts were not the best years for real cultural longevity, were they?
No. Me and my wife just watched the Kevin Spacey documentary on HBO.
Oh,
about all his evil deeds and all that stuff. And
he is
and one of
ashamed. He is not ashamed of his words. and
No,
deeds.
no, creepily so. If
Yeah.
the man, I did not know that the man could get creepier, and yet, but like they showed one of the things that they didn't address that confused me was when they show him winning his Oscar for American Beauty, and I thought about American Beauty, and I was just like, oh, I haven't seen that movie in years, and I bet that movie does not hold up at all.
Yeah, it's one of
That's-
those I'm saying something movies, and like,
right.
But what
yeah.
are you saying?
But what? But what? Yeah,
Not everything
back to
needs
me.
to be actually said in the way that you're saying it, or at all.
or at all. Or at all.
What is
Or ever.
it that there's beauty all around in a fucking trash bag and Kevin Spacey banging his underage neighbor? Ugh. Oh. And Chris Cooper playing a Nazi, I guess.
A gay Nazi.
A gay Nazi.
Gay Nazi. That's the worst kind. I
Worst
guess.
kind. I mean, Milo Yiannopoulos was pretty bad, so.
Pretty bad. Now he's broke. Thank God.
Now he's broke, which brings a smile to my face every day.
Which just sometimes the world works out okay.
Works out perfectly.
Yeah,
Chapter
sometimes.
16. Snake wakes up in a room surrounded by Liquid, Revolver Ocelot, and Sniper Wolf, who, despite now being bandaged, is still breasting boobily.
Of course.
We needed to hear that.
We need to know. You need to know.
Yeah. You need to know. Revolver
need to
Ocelot
know.
has like a mechanical prosthetic now in place of his stump that he got cut off earlier. And Liquid is just Solid Snake with blonde hair and a British accent.
Yeah. Inexplicably.
Inexplicably. We learn that the Americans have made no move to negotiate, and also that Liquid and Solid are brothers, which, duh. Anyway,
Yeah. We already covered that.
we've been foreshadowing that for 15 chapters now. Anyway, Snake is going to get tortured by Ocelot now. Bye-bye. They all leave. Ocelot and Snake exchange some banter. There's a Jerry Lewis reference, and Snake passes out from the pain. Was there more discussed then? Yeah, who cares? It's about Ocelot's past as a Russian. It gets covered in the game Metal Gear Solid 3, which is a much better game than this is a book. Anyway, in his cell, he calls Campbell on his codec, which I guess a cursory search of his person doesn't find, because where the fuck is the codec? Anyway, he tells Campbell to stop playing dumb. Also, the body of the DARPA chief is in the cell with him, and he looks like he's been dead for days. Guess what? My favorite detail of all time. He's dead for days because there's maggots crawling in and out of his body. Phil, how are there maggots in an Alaska archipelago?
I don't think that's. I was literally just listening to a thing about fermenting meat in the Arctic and why it works okay up there, because it's not, the warmest days are maybe 59 degrees. So no. And I'm not, and no bullshit. I actually
You would need to have imported the maggots for this scene to work.
That's exactly it. It's. Which, you know what? Knowing Metal Gear? Maybe.
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 Anyway.
Maybe.
Snake, the DARPA chief is rotting by way of flies and maggots because, of course, he is in a frozen. Like, it's not just it's cold outside. It's not like it's warm inside the facility for all intents and purposes. It's not like a hot facility.
Besides, even if it was, that's where all the flies would have to live.
Yes. Yeah. Snake promises, what's his face? The guy from Rambo, that he'll save Meryl before he's taken for more torture. Colonel Campbell.
Campbell, yeah.
whose likeness is based off of the Colonel from Rambo.
That makes sense. Yeah.
What's his name?
I can't believe. Fuck. I have to look it up.
Speaking of actors from that era, Dabney Coleman died.
Yes, I saw that.
I thought he had been already dead for a while.
He was one of those guys, yeah.
He was one of those guys that I just
was one of
assumed
those
was
dudes.
dead.
Troutman, Colonel Troutman.
Yeah. I assumed that Dabney Coleman had been dead for a while, and then I was like, oh, he wasn't.
He wasn't. Which means he should have been working more, I guess.
He was 94. I mean, Dabney
Maybe.
Coleman was playing old men, and not old men, but like upper middle-aged men in the 80s.
Right. Maybe he should have been working less then. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, R.I.P. Dabney Coleman. You were great. You were the bomb in Cloak and Dagger, yo.
I'm going to have to take your word for it. And based on that recommendation, I'm never going to watch it.
Hold on. I gotta make sure he was in Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, for God's sake. Yeah, that's probably good. Yeah, let me make sure.
Yeah, no. Cloak and Dagger, Dabney.
Cloak and Dagger. Okay. All right, good.
Starring Henry Thomas and Dabney Coleman. Henry Thomas when he was little. The E.T. era Henry Thomas, not the current Mike Flanagan starring in everything. Henry Thomas.
Henry Thomas classic.
Henry Thomas classic, not Henry Thomas current,
original.
in which he is just if Mike Flanagan is making it, he's in it.
Yeah.
We get a more stuff about Ocelot's Russian spats. He was called Shalashaska. That name keeps I know that's what his name was back in the day, but they keep saying it like it's going to hit hard every time we hear it.
Yeah, they're expecting something out of you, and it makes you wonder. It really does.
Yeah, Shalashaska. Has the SEO been fucked on this? Can I act? What does
Probably.
Shalashaska mean? A slang for a suspicious, hastily thrown together. Well, that I don't.
A hastily thrown together novelization?
Yep, it's a
that would
suspicious, hastily thrown together novelization. Burn. You got burned.
You got burnt. Yeah, you burnt.
Yeah, it's a pixelate burn right there.
There it is. The worst kind.
Hey, we're not for burning books, but we've just burned your book.
Burning books.
But don't do it. Not even this book. Please don't.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. That's
do it.
just a slippery slope. Don't do it.
But, Fahrenheit 451. That's
and all that. Yeah,
it's a book and a recipe. But don't.
But don't. Please don't. Begging you not to.
Jesus Christ. We get a heart-to-heart post-torture scene where we learn about Naomi Hunter, how she had a brother, and that brother's not Gray Fox, and that Snake has a lot of baggage.
Really now? Tell me the first honest thing said in this game, in this book, rather.
Yeah. Otacon shows up wearing a stealth belt after Johnny, the guard, runs off to go poop in the bathroom, and Snake is kind of rude to Otacon. And he steals a handkerchief from Otacon and places it in the middle of the room and then uses his manly ass to hide up in the ceiling. And when Johnny comes back, he just sees the handkerchief in the middle of the room. And he's like, what the fuck? And he goes into the cell. And the Snake drops on him and knocks him out and takes his key card and leaves. And in the next room, he finds all of his belongings. And that's the end of this segment. I forgot to mention there is one part in which Snake does go into a cardboard box.
Yes.
And I appreciated that mention. But
Yeah. They were contractually obligated to
the
include
contractually obligated cardboard box.
that. Yes.
Yes. So, what are you playing?
I think it's clear how we feel.
I didn't even put the voice on.
What are you playing? It's just
What are
the
you playing?
defeat. What are you playing?
Maybe
I don't even-
I think I'll rally during what do you play?
Yeah. Just get right back into it. Yeah.
Ooh, there's a new roadmap for Power Wash Simulator.
Oh, there you go. See, that's something that's worth talking about. There you go.
That's worth talking about. No, I'll do it proper. What are you playing?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, actually. Well, I've been playing Fallout 4. That's a given.
Oh.
Still playing that. enjoying myself in the sense of, as I mentioned, I kind of hinted at while we were talking about the book, totally going, yeah, through all the storyline. I'm there. I'm not there for story.
Yeah.
I'm there to get all the settlements and connect them all through trade, and maybe kill some some Institute goons on the way.
Sure.
I'm playing it as mindlessly as I have ever played a Bethesda game in my entire life, and I'm having more fun that way than most. So that's worked out pretty nicely.
Yeah.
I played some of Pools.
That was the one that Michael was playing a few weeks ago.
Yes. I think it's interesting. This whole backrooms thing, I'm intrigued by, just because I like horror in general, and it's definitely unique, but at the same time, I can't help but feel like I missed the bus on this one. This might be a generational thing. In terms of like, it just doesn't really do it for me. I find it interesting. And I can see where the kind of quiet dread creeping factor is there. And it's actually a fascinating game in terms of it just being photorealistic at times and absolutely gorgeous. And you do get these wonderful moments where you're just creeping through. For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's this game where you're basically playing through the back rooms, that liminal space that you read about on the internet all the time. And everything's covered in tiles, and there are, water slides where there shouldn't be water slides, and pools and all that stuff.
Non-Euclidean water slides.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's a maze. It's what it comes down to. It's a maze game. And every now and then you'll turn a corner and there will be something just kind of sitting there, or something will happen. There was a really effective moment where I walked up to this pit with a ladder and grate in it, and I just saw these two hands kind of go down the ladder, and it was very effective. And I was like, okay, that sent a chill up my spine.
Okay, I am scared.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's not enough. I don't know how much further I'm gonna go with it. I played a game. I played the demo of a game called Cat God Ranch.
Ooh.
Yeah, just the title alone had me very interested. It's weird. You play a farmer, and there's this farm, and you're dedicated to satisfying the cat god, in big quotes, and it's a strategy game, and you have a different animal. You have groups of animals to choose from every turn, and the animals have different synergies, and some animals lay eggs and reproduce themselves, and some just are meant to be sold at the market after a certain amount of turns, and then you've got predator animals, and they eat other animals, and honestly it's less about a farm ultimately and more about just the natural ecosystem. So you're just trying to maintain this farm and with all the right synergies and get enough certain amount of coins that you've got to give to the cat god at the end of a week. And it's addictive in the sense of that kind of synergistic game always is, but I was kind of expecting, with something called the Cat God, I was kind of expecting a darker sense of humor than it ultimately had. Mm-hmm. It's and maybe the full game will have that, but ultimately it was a little too cutesy for my taste. I was just kind of like, meh. And I played the new Vampire Survivors DLC, Operation Guns.
Is that the Contra one?
It is the Contra one. And how was I supposed to avoid that, I ask you? And they have done such a good job allying themselves with different franchises.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy. It's so simple. The creator doesn't give a shit about.
Yeah. So here's, and I'll put this out, it might be a controversial take. Vampire Survivors is the Fortnite of $2 bullet heaven games.
I mean, yeah, they're just, it doesn't have any continuity that you should give a shit about. You shouldn't take it seriously. In this one, you're being helped out by the Contra guys, and you can unlock all them. And
yellow headband and red headband.
Exactly. And you get to, and there's a new level which is crawling with assets from Contra, and it's just and some of them are updated, but most of them aren't, and it's kind of amazing like that, and it's got all the same like Giger rip-off shit that you expect from things like that. I played through it. I got 5 or 6 of the achievements and unlocked a couple of characters, and it's bliss. It's just more wonderful.
That's awesome.
And it's I think $250. One of these days, maybe in 10 years, they will release a full version of Vampire Survivors that includes all the DLC, priced out to the approximate price that a regular video game normally goes for. And it will be too much game for any one person to handle. Because they're just giving away just like new characters, new weapons, all the fucking time for a couple of bucks here and a couple of bucks there.
In the end, it's going to be like thousands of hours of playtime for some people.
Yes, it's crazy. I don't go back to games the way I have gone back to this game.
Yeah,
I've not fully given up on this game the way I do with a lot of other shit. So I remain deeply impressed with how they're doing this shit, and I highly recommend it. It's just more of the same, but
it's awesome.
It's not the same. It's more, it's new stuff, but more of the same at the same time.
Right.
It's great stuff. So that's what I've been playing. What about you? What are you playing?
Okay, well, I was playing Animal Well. So
okay. Tell me all about that.
Okay, yeah. Animal Well it's a Metroidvania. It is made by Billy Basso, and it is published by Big Frog, Big Mouth, something. It's Donkey's publishing company, whatever it's called. But Billy Basso is the creator, and I say that specifically because a lot of people have been calling it Donkey's game. It's Billy Basso's game. Please actually say his name when you are talking about the game, because I'm sure Donkey helped in the publishing and did a lot in getting it across the line.
Got it out to a wide audience.
Please talk about the dev in this instance. So I played Animal Well, and it is one of those games where I'm not sure if I know a lot of people love it. I'm not sure if I like it just fine or I actively hate it.
Okay.
So it's one of those, it's kind of like Tunic. I didn't like Tunic because to me, I was like Tunic. So I'm kind of refining my take on this type of game, and I am less of a fan of a game that it seemingly puts too much effort in the layer beyond the layer that is being presented. Mm-hmm. It's like, so Tunic, the combat was, but it was mostly about like, and there was some puzzle solving that was cool. But it was the deeper mystery, and I didn't really care for the deeper mystery all that much. There wasn't it like a lot of people loved it. And don't get me wrong, don't come at me, Tunic fans. It just did not do anything for me on any sort of level that I connected with. It just did not. It landed completely flat for me. So with those inputs, like the deeper mystery, okay. And the gameplay, I was like, fucking, I don't like Tunic. I don't think it's particularly, it's not my cup of tea. So Tunic is like that. There was a game last year, and I put it on my honorable mentions last year, called Void Stranger, and I liked Void Stranger more because it was the base gameplay loop was kind of like. It was kind of it was like a Sokoban that you could just kind of play. There was more stuff deeper down, but you didn't really have to necessarily do it. So I was satisfied enough with Void Stranger. This is now Animal Well is the third game I've played in this realm where it's like, ooh, methinks there's another layer beneath it, and it's. So Animal Well is okay as a Metroidvania. It's got some really cool tools and stuff like that. Controls are fine. There's some weird game design decisions in terms of like impediments, like falling in the water grants you, like, puts you back at the last point that you started, but falling on spikes does damage with almost no cooldown in terms of getting back out of the spikes. So you'll lose almost all your entire health. You're like, okay, well, what's the point? Just either insta-kill me or restart me. Don't, you know. And then some puzzles are a little obnoxious in terms of like, oh, you messed up. Now I have to go all the way back around this series of rooms just to trigger the puzzle again.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I have to
tedious.
wait. It's just like there's a bunch of tedious puzzle solves in the game. They're not so, and that's all just in phase layer 1 of the game. And then there's 4 layers to the game. Layer 1 is the main gameplay, and you roll credits by the end of that. That's 4 to 5 hours. And then layer 2 is just a literal egg hunt, and you have to find all 64 eggs hidden throughout the game.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know. I don't have a lot of. I wasn't getting a lot of enjoyment out of the egg hunt aspect itself. So I think I'm done playing it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to preserve whether my feeling for those first 5 hours, which were, is kind of nice, are outweighed by the fact that I then spent 6 more hours in this game world not really enjoying it.
Yeah, that's tough because they took you 5 steps forward and then basically 5 steps back again.
It's just it was like one of those. Is the juice worth the squeeze here? Am I getting anything out of this? So I don't know. That's kind of my take on Animal Well. Your mileage may vary, and I would definitely go to a reviewer who you feel aligns with your views on games to see if you should play. Check with your doctor to see if Animal Well is right for you.
Yeah,
it's not for me. It's not. It's okay for me. There's probably something better. If I'm getting my Metroidvania fix, for me personally, if I had to say 2024, one Metroidvania, go, I would say, okay, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. The Prince of Persia game, boom, right off the bat. Sure, it's more of a higher budget game, but it doesn't. We're not really comparing budgets here. We're just comparing what game you like better.
What did you have more fun with? Period.
I had a lot more fun with Prince of Persia.
There you go.
And it was really cool to be able to play Prince of Persia in Farsi.
That is neat. That is a neat detail. I've got the demo of that downloaded on my Switch. I really
you should give it a shot. It's a good one. All right. What else have I been playing? I've also been playing Fallout 4. I'm trying to figure out why I bounced off of it all those years ago. I'm starting to see why.
It was not well liked when it came out. It was a very controversial one. Yeah.
I think the settlement thing, like, to me, in terms of game design, the settlement thing needed to happen much later after some actual linearity in terms of quests. Like, give me some forward momentum in terms of doing shit. Yeah. But the game kind of like you stumble upon the Minutemen and then you take them back to the thing and it just screeches to a halt where it's like, well, you want to start playing Sim City?
It's like they're trying to get you off track with the side quests, which normally you do yourself. It's like they're trying to do that. It is funny.
The golden rule from the Fallout TV show was thou shalt get sidetracked with bullshit.
Right. We don't need help with that. We'll figure it out. We got it. I found that several of my playthroughs of that game, I've only beaten it once, and so many, and like 90% of the other playthroughs ended before I even got to Diamond City. Because of that, I think, because of the pacing of that. Yeah,
it's weird pacing, and so I was like, all right, fine. I was playing around with the settlement, and it's like, well, you got to build a power thing, and you got to do this, and be like, fuck it, I'm just going, I'm leaving, bye.
The settlement stuff isn't really done very well.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm just going to the next thing, and be like, all right, and go to the next settlement. And they're like, hey, can you go kill some raiders? And be like, I can kill some raiders.
I can do that. Yeah.
I'm not going to build you a shack. Yeah. Get out of my way.
Thankfully, that's usually what they want. They're usually they're like, there's some super mutants up the way. Please kill them.
Please kill them.
I got dessert placed on my.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Baby. Strawberry shortcake.
That's beautiful. So Fallout 4, I've been playing that a little bit, just kind of like meh. And I am still I finally am getting ready to play Pentiment.
Okay, yeah.
Crow Country is up next as well.
I gotta get into that. That one looks fascinating to me.
And I just started today because I saw Northern Line playing it, and let me say, the man's a tastemaker. A game called Crypt Master.
I just downloaded the demo for that. That looks fascinating. Yeah.
So it's a typing game where it's a typing dungeon crawl RPG.
Fascinating.
Yeah, where your attacks are like, you type your attacks, right? And you have 4 members of your party, and each of them has different attacks. So like the fighter, their main attack is hit, so you hit. And then the thief is jab, jab. And then the bard, his first skill, so their first skill for each person is a free skill. And that means it doesn't count towards, like, there's a soul meter up in the corner, and you have to eat insects to keep the soul meter filled.
Oh, that's some fucking Dracula shit.
So
that's, Renfield shit. That's nice.
Each letter takes a point down from that.
Okay.
Of the words that you type, right? Of the attacks that you type.
Yeah.
But their first skill is free. So hit, jab, and then there's one for the bard called yell. And you go and you type yell, and you hit that, and that resets the cooldown on the fighter's timer, so he could go hit again. And then there's the 4th character, which is a witch, and she casts spells and all that stuff. It's like type. It's like
that's interesting.
It's like
that's
figuring
really
out
cool.
the rhythm of like I got to type this guy. I got to type this skill from this person. Each person, like, I opened up the skill sheet and I was like, oh, they have like 100 words each that they learn as their skills.
Oh my God.
It is
That's
intense.
Crazy. That is crazy.
So, I just started playing that. It's like one of those games. So I put it in for like an hour, over an hour, and I'm like, okay, I'm not 100% sure if it's for me, but it's really weird and interesting, and I appreciate the fact that it's weird and interesting. So yeah, Crypt Master is also what I've been playing.
Okay, I'm really looking forward to that now. Okay, cool. I don't know if I'll get into it, but it sounds fascinating.
Yeah,
I'm with you. We need more games like that.
I'll at least watch somebody play through. It's sort of like the Sucker for Love games. I don't play those types of games, but I do watch the Scary Game Squad play them. Yeah. And I just finished watching their playthrough of the new Sucker for Love game that just came out. So yeah, sometimes a game is a game you watch somebody else play. Sometimes it's a game for you.
Sometimes it's a spectator sport.
Sometimes it's a spectator sport. But you know what isn't a spectator sport is following us on social media.
Yes.
You should do that on X, Twitter. They're the same thing. Instagram. Go subscribe to our YouTube page. Actually, if you're listening to this and you never listened to us on YouTube, do us a favor, though. Go over to YouTube, youtube.com/pixelitpod. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. youtube.com/pixelitpod. Go over there and just hit the subscribe button. It'll do us a solid in terms of getting our numbers closer to the monetization level on YouTube. Even if we're not running ads yet on YouTube, it just gives us more control over what we can do with our channel. So, hey, if you have a moment and you have a YouTube account and you're listening on Spotify, you're listening on Apple iTunes, you're feeling bored, you're at home, you got nothing to do, there's no Maury Povich on, go over to youtube.com/pixelpod, hit the subscribe button, and you'd be doing us a huge favor. Otherwise, I think that'll do it for tonight's episode. What do you think, Phil?
I think that might be it.
All right. Good night.
Good night.